I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation, God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Supervisor Hill.
Here.
Treasurer Anderson.
Yes.
Trustee Appy.
Here.
Trustee Osling.
Here.
Clerk Squires.
Here.
Here. One on Zoom. We can have some comments on agenda items at this time. Do we have anybody in the audience here visually first? Any comment on any of the agenda item? Not seeing anywhere here. Zoom? No, Patty, you have one?
Yeah.
Hang on. You need to come up here and you gotta take a seat and you gotta put the ring to green. What?
So do you.
I'm loud enough. Go ahead.
Patty Dombrowski, Lyon Township.
Could you speak up a little bit? Speak up.
Again, you might, okay,
Here you go.
Patty Dombrowski, Lyon Township. I'm just curious, will your draft ordinance on the septic be available to the public
We
today?
don't have one yet. I mean, it's not a draft. We don't have an actual draft.
Okay,
We have the thoughts of the committee, correct? And then
We have a Health of Higgins Lake
Right.
Initial, I call it the work
Mhm.
of the septic committee.
right,
And our what's before us today, and the board has had it for about a month, is to whether or not we send it back to the Health of Higgins Lake Septic Committee, or do we take it as it is? Or if any board member has an absolute, yeah, I don't want something on there for sure, and it goes to the planning commission. Once the planning commission has it, that stuff is all obviously available. Yes.
so there's nothing.
We haven't acknowledged anything at this board level for a septic ordinance
Okay.
yet.
But your initial discussion is today.
The initial discussion of whether we move it to the planning commission or send it back to the Health of Higgins Lake Septic for any further comments or
Okay.
review.
I just want to know where you're at. Thank you.
That's where it's at.
we're at the
Yeah.
beginning still.
At the beginning, very beginning. Yes. All right. That's it in-house on the Zoom. Any comments about agended items? Right? No? Okay. So now moving along, before we go to the agenda, I just want to formally, because I know there's a whole bunch of YouTube watchers and whatever out there, I want to, on behalf of the board, formally thank our emergency services, police, fire, EMS, our public workers, the energy companies, and the emergency management in general that came together after that major ice storm. And we appreciate their around the clock work and the amazing amount of calls that they took for service. We had police and firefighters with chainsaws in their patrol cars and chainsaws in their units going around to get roads open. Also want to commend the community. They at least stayed in, because the more you stay in during those times, the more work emergency services can get done proactively to be able to reach your homes, and or if you had an emergency or otherwise. So I just think it's worthy on behalf of our board to thank you very much. We were in the board, although the municipal offices were not open. We were Jim Osling, I know him and I were definitely communicating over the compost site and kind of working some behind the things for recovery after the fact. But thank you all. I appreciate all of you here, and please take it back to your staffs as well. Outstanding. I can't say enough. About really 3 days worth of really hard pieces. We had warming centers set up here, if you will. Not shelters, but warming centers, and water. And we serve quite a few folks. And so thank you all.
Can I add?
You can.
That you know, I know that there was a state emergency in the county and I know a lot of work was done throughout the county, but this is one of the reasons I love living in this
Amen.
township. And the only thing I can say to you guys is,
Amen.
that
Very well. Much appreciated. Anybody else? Or-
Hey, Brian, I was muted.
Okay.
Just hope it's not happening again this morning.
Well, let's hope not.
Yeah.
But that's a good segue right into number one. Paul Olson from our Michigan Township Participating Plan was going to do the.
Did I interrupt for a second? I was
Township
muted.
Yearly insurance.
Got Janowski up there.
I was muted when you asked for
What happened?
comments.
Hold on.
Trying
Okay.
to
What
hear.
happened here?
I'm not sure he's trying
Okay.
Are you trying to talk?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Barely.
Who is this?
It's
Uh,
Janowski.
yeah. I'm not sure. My phone's all the way up.
Okay, we can hear you now.
Barely.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll get closer. Okay. So can I make my comments regarding the speed limit change now, or would you rather me wait until at the end, or?
I'll give you an opportunity on your issue. Yes, I'll give you an opportunity when we get there.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yep. All right. So anyways, Paul, I'm sure is probably delayed by weather. And I haven't been notify him that he can't come, but so we're gonna kind of hang on to number one, but move past it for the spirit of timing and whatever. And when he comes, we'll jump him right in. Okay, we're on to the building and zoning report, folks. And any questions, comments by the board at all regarding the monthly? And then, of course, there's also a yearly that they gave us from usually the fiscal year piece. And Jim, I know I've heard you say that the fiscal piece is very helpful during the audit for the fiscal year
Yeah.
totals for the building and zoning, and they provided those.
yeah, I saved that, and I'm putting together an audit file for the auditor. So.
Okay. So board members, are there any questions or concerns or anything there? Okay, good. We are on to the police department update. Sergeant Ellis is with us this morning representing the police department. And he also, I've assured him that if his radios and whatever start going off, it's like a 6-arm paper hanger at this point this morning. So John, floor is yours.
I believe everybody has a copy of the report that Chief Mazinski turned into the board. Just want to go over a couple of things that are already on the agenda. We have 2 requests for traffic safety studies. One on Maplehurst Drive from County Road 100 going west all the way down to the lake. The request came in from Mr. Tim Coffey, who lives on Maplehurst and is concerned about speed limit and safety of walkers, runners, bikers, etc. Chief Mazinski and Supervisor Hill have been in contact with the Roscommon County Road Commission over this matter. Supervisor Hill has officially brought the rest of the board into the discussion on whether they wish to move forward with a formal request from the Roscommon County Road Commission for a traffic study.
Thank you.
The second one is from Mr. Janowski on Zoom. He lives on Rolling Oak Lane. Mr. Janowski is concerned about safety regarding the intersection of Rolling Oak Lane and North Cut Road. The concern relates to sight distance, speed limit alteration, and possibly requesting a Roscommon County Road Commission to do a traffic safety study in regards. Specifically, he's requesting a lowering of the speed limit on North Cut Road from West Maplehurst to Burdell. The chief in his report that he turned in has submitted pictures, photographs of the area. Chief also searched our RMS system and found that there have been 0 citations issued in that stretch of road and only 1 accident, which was in 2019, and that was a Carver's deer. This is being brought before the board to decide if they wish to move forward with a formal request for a traffic safety study.
Okay, thank you.
Moving on with the hiring of Officer Jeremy Meyer to fill our vacant police officer position. Chief is looking for a spot on the April 14th, 2026 regular board meeting for a ceremonial swearing in of Jeremy. Jeremy's met all the requirements for the conditional hire. And he will provide Clerk Squires with a copy of the oath of office at the board meeting. The final point that he wanted to touch on. It's fairly important and a bit technical, so bear with me. Back in 2025, Chief received notification on the encryption of CGI, criminal justice information, over land mobile radios that he's been speaking about over several different meetings. He also brought this to the May work session in 2025. Dissemination of CGI obtained from both Michigan and FBI over land mobile radios must comply with the same requirements for wired communications. CGI must be disseminated to authorized agencies, entities, and or persons only, and CGI must be encrypted with an advanced encryption standard, AES. In accordance with the CJIS SecPol FBI Criminal Justice Information Service Security Policy, as of October 21st, 2024, CJIS SecPol encryption requirements for CGI in transit outside the boundaries of a physical secure location is to employ cryptographic modules that are FIPS 140-3 certified or FIPS validated, a FIPS validated algorithm of symmetric key encryption to decryptions, FIPS 197 AES. In either case, a symmetric cipher key of at least 128 bits strength is required. Since CJIS SecPol requirements is in effect and sanctionable by the FBI, the MSP's CJIS audit staff will audit to the requirement for educational purposes and require a written corrective action plan to be submitted for findings of noncompliance. However, lack of CJIS SecPol required encryption will not lead to sanctions imposed by the MSP until October 1st of this year. With that being said, the chief has researched the same encryption through Procom Inc. out of Mount Pleasant, and they are able to do an encryption upgrade of our current mobile and portable radios to meet the requirements mentioned above. The cost for the encryption upgrade is $10,041.32. This cost is actually $1,688.31, less than when he introduced this back in May of 2025. The current quote he has includes a 40% discount available on the total cost of $16,735.53. He's looking for board approval to move forward with this encryption update so that we can get ahead of this issue and be in compliance by October of 2026. This process will take a few months to accomplish. As a note, we have our triannual lien audit in December or November of 2026. With the encryption upgrade, we would be in compliance with the lien audit portion.
Very good.
Any questions on that?
Nah,
Makes perfect
I
sense.
think we
Yeah.
got it. He's been talking,
Yeah.
Man.
just so you know, he's been talking to us about it. I'm happy. He contacted me and was able to get this 40% potential discount.
Yeah,
here, and it was a lot better than the 16,000.
incredibly
And
helpful.
so,
Yes.
board, we would be looking for a motion to approve Chief Mashinsky to purchase that encryption upgrade through Procom Incorporated at that 10,041.32 on April 14th.
Very good.
So all of your radios have encryption?
What's that?
All of your radios at the police department have encryption?
Well,
Not yet.
Not yet. They would be encrypted to the standard with the new encryption that we would have done. Right now, we operate on primary channel, which anybody can listen to on scanners or phones or whatever. If we do transmit CJIS material, any personal identifiable information, we switch over to a lean channel, which is encrypted and people don't have access to that. But in this way, everything would be encrypted.
This has been coming for several
Yeah.
years.
Yeah,
So, but all of your equipment is though, will be.
will be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Car radios and our portables.
Fire department, is any of their stuff encrypted? You don't use any encrypted equipment, do you?
They don't.
Do you have any real need for it? Yeah, okay.
They're not
It-
dealing with.
Yeah,
CJIS
about
material.
maximum they would do would be some kind of, the leverage probably would be HIPAA, right? If they made you do it. Interoperation.
Right.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, with the, you're right, with the rapid removal teams and whatever. Okay. But you're not under mandate yet, the police department.
We are.
Yes. And to be honest with you, before I left, we were pushing it off, hoping that pricing would come down because this thing was as high as when I was there about 3 years ago, $35,000 to do. And so you can see it has come down. It was a good move to do, but our back is right where we need to be at this point.
Yeah, and the concern would be that after it is mandated, the price would
Sure.
Well, and after
start to rise again.
Yeah, people are going to wake up, those that
Yeah.
haven't been in tune to the October, and suddenly they're going to fail their audit.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it's going to be supply and demand. So thank you, John.
Thank you, sir.
Board, do you have any other questions of John?
You're right.
Not hearing any? All right. Thank you much,
Thank you
John.
very much.
And again, just wink at me if you got to fly. Okay, very good. We're fire and EMS is next up, but Christy, are you guys in any time thing? Can I fit Paul in? Very good. Mr. Olson, you are up, my friend. I imagine it was a harrowing ride. Come on up. You got to come up here now. This is guest speaker and YouTube approved. Okay.
Appreciate it. I was supposed to be on.
All of your board members, this is what you need in front of you right now.
I brought extras. I'm glad you guys.
I know
I know
put
you're
them out.
right.
All right.
I did too. I don't think I have it in here. Don't.
So we'll let
Yeah.
you, Mr. Olson, you have the floor.
Thank
We'll
you.
let you do the highlights for us.
Does anyone need me? You
I'll
both
take a copy.
take a copy.
You got two, I'll take.
Oh, yeah, I
downloaded
brought-
mine. It's in my computer.
I'm still a paper guy.
Yeah.
Thanks, Paul. I'm glad
I
you
am
for that.
too.
Me too.
Don't take mine.
I don't want all the paper, but.
Here, there's a few.
Anybody else?
No, good.
Sure.
Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Paul Olson from Municipal Underwriters of West Michigan. I've been insuring Gerrish Township for a long time, this is the 41st year with my agency. I've been here for, I think, 40 of those. So I appreciate your business and I always enjoy coming to just answer any questions that you may have. As far as the insurance industry is concerned, at this point in time, the last 4 years, we've seen some pretty major increases for all of our clients. It's just one of those things. I believe probably, it's no consolation. You guys this year wasn't so bad. I think it's about a 9% overall increase.
I'm
And
sorry, say that again.
9%.
9%?
Last year was 61.
66.
66.
61 something, and this year is 66.
Mhm.
So that's where the increases are. I wanted to check on something on a vehicle. There's a 2016 police vehicle that's still on the policy, and I just wanted to make sure that's still there.
I need to double check the little.
It's the oldest one in the fleet.
Yeah, I can address that.
Should Paul? Yeah, there should be only 4 to begin with.
Okay,
on
so-
it, and the 16, we believe we still have.
That's what I
He's
thought.
not here this
I,
morning, but
well, what I think happened, did
Answer.
you have 2 of those last 216s at one point in time? And we took one off last year. Okay, and I've got that one. I just was kind of looking through
Mhm.
here to make sure from last.
that's what I'm dialing back to here.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we do still have the 2016. And I believe on like 5/5 right after the meeting, we took off a
Yeah.
2016 Ford Explorer.
Okay.
So we're good. Just as long as you still have one of those.
Yes.
The other, from the chief, I'll address that, a Polaris 6x6
Still have it.
side by, he was worried that didn't see it listed.
It is.
We write, just kind of review that on the inland marine schedule or equipment schedule. We write a miscellaneous, township schedule.
Yep.
And, what we have, I want to explain how that works. So you're aware of that. Okay, so I do have the 6x6 on.
You do.
Yeah, okay. So,
It's there with an insured value.
yep, there's a miscellaneous township property of 80,000. You can use it every time you have a loss.
Mhm.
That could be fencing, that could be playground equipment, up to $80,000. We used to even have a stipulation in there that it's 25,000 is under the miscellaneous, but they actually would go higher than that as well. So the things that I have listed are the things that were originally over 25,000 in value.
Yep.
So you have the Polaris 6x6 at 35,000.
Yep.
So if you had a total loss there and the 6x6, 37,000, we would not charge off the deductible. Okay. You get the full 35. So just make sure that those values are to your liking, and that will work out fine for everyone. Does anyone have really nothing else has changed in the coverages? We haven't increased deductibles. There may be one change if you're familiar with NFPA 1900. The new fire truck scenario that was taking place in 2024, and what it says in there, it really hasn't affected insurance. But what we're doing is we're kind of getting ahead of this a little bit. So any vehicle that's over 25 years old, what they suggest, it should be taken off. It should be removed. So what we've done is any vehicles that you see there value wise that are over 25,000, and I don't think you have many. We've
Removed
reduced.
as in not insured?
No, we will insure them, but we're not going to insure a 2002, Spartan pumper for 600,000 on a loss. We're going to insure it more or less on a same thing, agreed amount, but we're going to reduce the value. Because under NFPA 1900, there's just certain things we can't even find replacement parts for these vehicles that are this old when we're trying to equate a claim. So that's what we've done. We've just reduced those down. I think you're going to see that with almost every company out there. And I want to get my ducks in a row here and tell you what if there was any vehicles let me do that here. I don't know if I have that with me, but I think there was only one vehicle that you had on the policy. And
Christy, are you in tune with this? Okay. Christy's our new fire chief since you back in the back there.
Hi, Christy. Nice
Just so
to meet you.
Paul.
Let me get to that and see if there has been a change. I just have to look at the schedule.
You did double the deductible on the buildings, didn't I did a comparison. I could swore I saw.
Let me see, Jim.
Went
Let me
from
see.
2,500 to 5,000.
Let me see. And that's a good possibility too. Hold on a second. Okay, so let me address the vehicle first. The 2002 Kenworth pumper tanker last year was on your policy at agreed amount for $250. This year it's been reduced to $137,450. Okay. The way we equate losses too, you have to kind of look at this. If you take your fire truck or your ambulance and you tip it upside down, okay, whatever falls out can be replaced by the 200,000 miscellaneous ancillary equipment. Okay. We also have endorsements in the policy that provide lettering, provide radios, customized vehicle endorsement. That is included in the 137, but now we can use that inland marine to cover those items as well to make it more whole. But I believe, and let me check. I want to check one more item here. 50, 308. Yeah, I believe that's the only vehicle that was affected. The rest of them, and once again, it's not like on an actual cash value basis. It is on an agreed amount, just like all your trucks are written at. It's just been reduced down because the vehicle is a 2002. And I'm sorry, go ahead, Jim.
Jim, your question.
If I did a comparison yesterday, and I'm pretty sure that the building deductible went from 2,500 to 5,000.
Okay, let me double check.
I assume that maybe that was to control the premium cost.
Yeah, they're definitely, we have increased deductibles as well. And I'm looking at your last year's 12,936,000 that was on the policy. Yes, it's gone to a 5,000. You're in that range of over 10 million in property where we're going to feel more comfortable with a 5,000. If this is a huge stickling point with you, I certainly can go back and see if they can make some changes down to 2,500. So that's what I'm here for. But standard, if you're over 10 million in a blanket basis, you're going to be up to around $5,000 deductible. When I've been out here the last 4 years and I have companies that come in, I just had one come in and quote at Long Lake Township in Grand Traverse County, which I would say is kind of the same size as you. Their premium's a little higher. But the guy called me and goes, "Hey, Paul, we've been here for 40 years. We want to take a look at this." I go, "Do you?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I met with him. I was pretty pleased. I mean, our premium was 77,000 and the next closest was 85. Every company out there, because I know this market well, is in the same boat.
Mhm.
They're increasing deductibles. They're increasing premium. I haven't found, that kind of makes me feel good. Okay. Because I've done this for a long period of time. And when these increases come in, you're kind of going, wow, I was battling them for 3 years straight. And the good news is, I think by next year, we're going to see some leveling off, okay, of premium. We have a meeting in April, and I believe that's going to be one of the things on the agenda is that at least the power plan is going to be, leveling off their premiums the best they can. With that program, obviously, you still have the grant program. I don't know if you're applying for grants. I don't know if you're receiving grants because I'm so busy doing other things. I let those people do that.
Yeah.
And also, if you recall, our dividend program. We haven't paid a dividend in a few years, and I believe that will be coming back in the future. It's just a matter of getting our losses in order. Everything is costing a tremendous amount. If you look at litigation, if you look at when you have to repair a vehicle, okay, so all those things have a direct effect,
Yes.
okay, on insurance, and I'm not saying it's good or bad. These increases I've seen the last 4 years, the last time I've seen increases like this was after 9/11. And most premiums went up about 38% at that point in time. But this one has just been kind of a steady increase. And but that's where we're at. So yes, it is a $5,000 deductible, Jim. I'll go back. I can talk to them, see if I can get that.
Border you.
I'm not suggesting that we need to. I was trying to do my apples and apples thing.
No,
and just
I would
compare.
like to see if that's a possibility.
I mean, if the premium's going to go up by $2,500.
No, the premiums, no, I will be working it this way. I've had you for 41 years. They're kind of making a request, and no, there's not going to be any increase to you if I do.
It looks
this.
like the losses that were claimed compared to 2 years are about
Mhm.
the
About the same.
similar,
Yeah.
Get
we're-
the same amount of deer. Yeah.
But no, as far as
Unfortunately.
Gerrish Township
Yeah.
is concerned, your losses have been really,
Pretty
can
minimal.
I say spectacular for the size of the township. I've got two ambulance accidents in Traverse City that happened in November. One was 500,000 just for the ambulance, and then there's a $1.5 million claim for some auto liability because apparently the ambulance may have crossed the line to hit this person. So that's going to be a large one. And then East Bay Township, I had about a $250,000 claim on an ambulance. But for the most part, we are in pretty good shape. We had some pretty large property losses last year, one to the tune of $6 million. All these things, it's a program put together,
We're in
for
a pool.
all. And then it's like, but it's not really a pool.
We're
But
swimming.
yeah, we're in
We're
a
swimming in a
You're-
like environment.
you're in a Public Act 138,
Yep.
which allows you to obviously get dividends and also allows the grant program to happen.
Yep.
No other company that I'm competing against, does that because they're all standard insurance companies. They're all standard carriers. We are not really. We're a 138 still.
So you'll check on that.
I'll check on that and get back to you.
Okay. Any other board members have a particular Jim Osling? You good?
I'm good.
I'm good. Jim, any more?
No,
Yeah.
No, I know, Jim.
I've been
I-
working through audits with this, your
Oh,
company.
yeah.
And I knew your father-in-law when he
Yes.
started, when
My
Dick
goodness.
started that. So,
41 years ago. And then I took over.
Yep.
Wow.
yeah. And
Wow.
yeah, so I've known Paul a long time too.
Oh, yes. We went to the same high school.
Yeah.
Didn't we?
Mary Jo,
Really.
any particular question?
I do. I want to talk to you about the workman's comp, but I don't want to do it in this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you with me or are you with the Michigan Municipal League?
We're with MML,
MML.
Meadowbrook.
MML.
You need me to
Okay.
give you a quote. I'll be happy.
I have one for you. And on your premium summary here.
Yes.
We did engage a separate policy for cyber.
Cyber's included.
Is
It went up. Yeah. It
I
had
doesn't
to-
show included.
Yeah, it is
It
included.
is included.
We added that, what, a year and a half ago,
Yeah, we
midterm?
did.
Last year was, I just checked that this morning because I
But it's
apologize for
included
that.
in your premium.
It's included in the premium.
Outstanding,
Yeah.
great. It just didn't say included.
No, that's Paul's error.
Okay, very good.
I do all these myself, so
Yeah, okay.
okay.
That's
So
a Paul-
yes,
Paul-
cyber's in place. Yeah, I think it went up from 1,400. There's another increase. Went up from 1,400 to roughly 1,600
So-
this year.
What's the actual policy expiration date?
5/1.
5/1, so we
Yeah,
can do this
we can do it
April
at the meeting.
14th?
Yep.
All right. very
You can
good.
do it April 14th.
Okay.
You know, you give me commitment, you can do it.
No, we'll do,
May
it.
4th.
Our next meeting for, regular meeting is April 14th. We'll motion to approve, and sign where necessary, obviously.
All right, well,
For MTA.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And if obviously, Michelle, anyone or Brian, if you have questions, please contact me. I'll be happy to help you out. One quick side note. I have been doing this 40 years. I think I talked about this a little bit, maybe one other time. I plan on turning this over at some point in time to my son, who is a lead underwriter for Tokyo Marine and HCC. He's been there 10 years. He knows policy very well. And probably within the next year, he'll come out to meet you, but we'll be traveling around introducing him. So I'll always be there in the background. So if you ever have any questions or he's not doing his job, you need to call me.
I thought you would go before me, but you didn't.
Well, this is like next year, but it's going to be at least a 2-year process.
Did
Well,
you have something?
Yes.
Yeah, was good.
The fire department has the quote for the drone.
Mhm.
Is that something that I send forward or do you want to take that?
Do they have, okay, so they have you have a quote, an insurance quote for the drone?
A repair of the drone.
How much was it? Yeah, Senator, here's what I will tell you this. The drone coverage that we provide is liability, so it's not a physical damage. I do have a company that I do airplane, with. They can provide drone coverage through us. To give you that physical damage, it would be a separate policy. We don't cover physical damage. We cover liability, because the reason we do that is obviously,
Get it?
we don't know who's flying
Yeah.
or what their training is. However, like I said, if you want a quote, I just have found the company I do my airport policies with that will provide that physical damage quote. Usually, from my experience, about $4,000.
Why don't
Okay.
we separately, Christie, you can have that conversation with him about the future and understanding that all those components, okay? Because all our pilots are trained FAA.
Yeah, I would, I'd be happy to send it in, but I'm not sure how that reaction would be, because we really only have the liability package. Meaning if your drone crashes and hits someone in the head, blows up somebody's house, they sue
Yeah.
bodily injury or property.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll let you
Thank
get back to your
Paul.
meeting.
Appreciate
Thank you
it.
very
Drive
much.
safe.
Paul.
Would be municipal underwriters and amount of whatever that is, invoice. Okay, we are now on picking back up to fire and EMS update. Christie, Chief Gilliam, excuse me.
Gilliam, you making her Irish?
I almost made you McDonald's, I guess. I don't know.
Good morning.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
So first, I don't know if you guys have noticed, I changed the board
ma'am.
report a little bit around
We
to
did.
kind of identify our calls, mutual aid and intercepts a little bit better. March was crazy. We ran 124 calls in March. Our average in March is 43 calls. We have never ran single digit or triple digits ever that I can remember in my 19, 20 years here. Our busiest month in 5 years was 85 calls in July in 2024. So if that kind of gives you an idea of where we were this month. In 60 hours, we ran 73 calls. Majority of them were fire calls. And if you can see, we had 64 power line calls throughout this storm. While all this was going on, I mean, if you can look, we've done 5 mutual aid calls for other areas. For EMS, we've done 3 for fire. We only had to turn over 1 EMS call this entire month. This was on one of our busiest days. One of our only ambulance that's in service right now was out on a priority call, and we were on 3 fire calls while that was going on. But while the other ambulance service was on their way to this call, we had a first responder there and taking care of the patient before they got there. So they still had us there. It just wasn't able to transport, just so we're clear on that.
Thank you.
When they do a good job, Denton has always been great to us. So,
Denton covered you for that one?
yep, Denton's our second. So if we have any call that needs to go, they're our second ALS ambulance. We always call them in first. So, I am in community involvement in here. I have 141 hours total. But honestly, I can't say that that's accurate as far as this month goes because of everything that we've done throughout the community while the storm was going on. So I want to say kudos to Mike Bentley and Brandon Rogers. While we were responding to storms, we had a resident call, was pretty upset, couldn't get out of their house, couldn't get out of their driveway. Their generator was running out of fuel. So Bentley and Brandon decided they were going to try to make this happen. So we went over there, got a gas can, they had cash. We went and got them fuel to use their generator, and Bentley also did a safety check on why we don't run generators in the garage or in the home.
That's always
So
a
that
good
helped.
idea. Don't
So
put
you-
them in the garage.
Yeah, so we prevented an emergency that day.
Yep.
So that was kind of nice. 232 is still out of service. I've been in contact with Ford Pro pretty much almost daily. They said they fixed the problem and we got it down the road almost to the freeway, not even a mile down the road, and our check engine light came on. It was running rough. So now it turns out that it was throwing a code for a knock sensor. The dealership was convinced it was a knock sensor, that it wasn't anything else. I talked to him the next morning to confirm this was just a faulty sensor. And then a few hours later, we got a voicemail saying that they replaced the sensor. It didn't fix the problem, that he was mistaken, that he was just reading the error on the code reader. It wasn't very nice to him. He is afraid to talk to me. When I called the Ford Pro lady, I talked to her. She talked to her boss. She talked to his boss. She keeps apologizing, telling me that this is, she's really sorry. And I said, I'm really glad, but your sorry doesn't mean anything when our frontline ambulance has been out of service pretty much since July. They keep trying to throw cost at us and I refuse, tell them this is not our problem. We fixed all these things. If they want to go back and pay the things that we've already paid, then we can go, back and forth with that. So we didn't pay for the last repair, and it looks like this new repair that they're doing now, we are also not paying for. When we are done with this initial problem and we do finally get this ambulance back, I will be working with Ford Pro to get a different dealership to work with. To me, it's very clear that this dealership is not doing what we need to be done. So I don't want to deal with somebody who's not going to take care of the problem. So that's where we're at with that truck. I guess I don't know if I want to say it's my short stature, but I've got the Chihuahua out on them and they're not impressed at all. As we just heard, our drone is still out of service. We did get a repair cost, $2,300, which is not bad. It was during a training mission. Once we get that taken care of, hopefully it won't be out of service much longer. This actually would have been a great tool to use during this ice storm. Once everything transpired, the wind broke down. Unfortunately, it wasn't able to be used. Josh Sanford, one of our full-time firefighter EMTs, passed his Fire Officer 2 class. So I'm super excited and proud of him. I'm not real sure where the future is going to be, but it's pretty bright for him. We were literally just talking about price increases and everything. So what I'm going to bring up, our SCBA bottles are going to be replaced here soon. They're pretty expensive. So Brandon and I have been doing our due diligence and kind of searching out better options as far as what we have. The name brand ones, you pay for the name on the bottle. So we've been doing some research into off-brand bottles. and we found it's called Eaton. It's a carbon fiber bottle, just like we have now, has the same, everything that we need. We purchased 2 of them, and we got 2 of them, I think, for the price of 1 at this point. We're doing some testing on it. We're gonna run it around. We're gonna wear it. We're gonna run it dry, make sure it's the same quality. As far as NFPA standards, it's exactly the same. It just doesn't have the MSA logo on it. So we're gonna kind of see. It's the same. It's a little bit longer, but as far as everything else, it seems to work really well. So as long as we're okay with the quality of it, that might be something we're gonna put because we're gonna have to replace them. So we might be doing that. That'll save us literally like half the cost of a bottle. So, let's see what else. Just a reminder of upcoming events. EMS week is around the corner in May. Every year I do something for our department, make dinner, make charcuterie boards or whatever. I will be doing something again. I just don't know what. For the first time, our Fire 1 and 2 Academy, when they end, we're going to be having a graduation ceremony / pinning ceremony for them. So that'll be coming up probably in June. I don't have the exact details, so I'll let you guys know when that happens if anybody's interested in hanging out for that. One of the things I also want to talk about is the Walk for the Red. They're doing a 2-day 50-mile walk around Houghton Lake and Higgins Lake this year to support firefighters fighting cancer. This is a group that's been around since 2019. For this whole entire time, they've done things to help support families that are dealing with cancer. As of this year, they're starting a new, I guess, project under their belt, and it's going to be for cancer prevention screening. This is not just in Michigan, this is everywhere. I sent over, this is the weight we can carry. It's a thing for sponsors and whatnot. If anybody's interested in helping. I know for a fact I am one. I will be walking. I will be walking both days through Houghton Lake and Higgins Lake with your gear on. It's 50 miles each lake. I will be bringing this up to the fire department at our meeting tonight to see if anybody else is interested. Just so you guys know, I'm going to pass these out for you. This is the updated information on what Neighbors United is and what Walk for the Red is and what they're doing, so you know.
It's Christy.
That go with this?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
I don't know if anyone's aware, cancer firefighters are more likely to, I think it's 25% likely to die from cancer from this job than any other profession. So that's why this is kind of important. I mean, prevention is better than not. So, other than that, I'm trying to think of what else. We are going to do something a little bit different this year. Brandon and I have been in talks. There's always been a 9/11 ceremony over at the county building. I think we're going to maybe try something different, maybe do something here, or maybe try to head that up at the county building. This year, it's the 25th anniversary of 9/11. So we're going to be in works with them to try to make something a little bit nicer and a little more formal, just so we're aware. And our open house again is happening in August. I'm not sure a date yet, but when I have it, I will let you guys know. And just like you guys, I'm extremely proud of our department for the calls that we ran this month. It was incredible. I don't know that I've ever seen anything like that since I've been up here. It's hard as, I guess, the department head to see my guys going nonstop for 24, 48, 60 hours. And it felt kind of hopeless. I will tell you that I feel like the key to these guys' heart is their stomach. So I made sure that I fed them the whole entire time, whether it be extremely high voltage coffee, Pop-Tarts. I think we got egg sandwiches from Matt's, just to keep them going. I don't know that we could have done this with any other people. We have a great team, and I couldn't be any more proud to be with these guys. So
Amen.
that's where I'm at.
Standing.
Any questions?
Nope.
Good
Sure.
job.
Oh, sorry.
Nice
Jim?
job over the last week. Great. Or not just that, but
Yeah, we're a good team. I'm pretty impressed.
We did well.
Yeah, we did.
I
And it
talked
wasn't-
with our county board of commissioner, Kim Morley,
Yeah.
as well, and that was kind of a main theme of how well that Gerrish Township is prepared
Yes.
as when you look around it as a county as a whole. So
We
I'm proud
did
of
have
that.
our station open 24 hours. We did have cots and blankets. It wasn't utilized, but it was available. And we had it ready to go. So, yep. That's
You
right.
know,
Well,
water, food, PD, fire, all of you did it, and CERT team came in as well to help with the PD manning of the station for water and food and things. And so, yeah, fabulous, wonderful.
yes. All right.
Thanks
Thanks.
for all you do, Chris.
Thank you.
Thanks, Christie.
Okay, we are on to the Health of Higgins Lake generality. I'm going to turn that to Jim because specifically we will talk about, obviously, the next thing, or after the well bid, we'll be talking about the, what to do with that septic, framework.
Yep.
Okay, so Jim, I'll turn that to you.
I was for a while as the chair of the steering committee and would have a formal report for the board by now, but the handoff is gone very well. Jenny is working her tail off and doing a great job. And her schedule to get you that report actually falls a little later in the months, the way she's looking to do it. So I don't have anything formal to hand to you.
Okay.
I guess I could go through a little bit in that the science committee continues to do, broken down into their smaller subcommittees, and they're continuing to work. I've talked with several of them about different opportunities they have coming up over the summer that they're pursuing, and bringing their data still together and getting it all onto Nextcloud and Zotero and making it all work. So I think everybody feels like it's coming along good. Some wish it was coming a little bit faster, but at the same time, they're doing a pretty thorough job of dragging that stuff together. So the septic committee, we have moved past the development of an ordinance, which we'll talk about here later, and sort of now taking a look at what's next. What are the next things we need to do, like community involvement and, assembling the paperwork that we've had that we've worked on, plus the various resource materials. We're trying to get all those into one spot, so, they're available for people to use. The data piece of it, I've talked about it before. The data chunk of it, the Excel data piece of it is very much in sync with, actually, I started out, like I said before, with the Excel piece of it and have sort of migrated it over, Ed Panyard has, into SQL database. And we're not to the point where that can be shared very well yet, but it's a more robust and probably a better way to deal with this data. I think there's the opportunity for over 1 million cells of information. If we had all that information, we've got about 60% of it. But if, so it's 1.5 million, I think, is the number of cells that are in that sheet. So there's a lot of information.
The SQL will provide you an avenue for getting better reports.
Yep. Yeah, the problem is, like I've said before, using Excel is great. I mean, more people can use it. I can use it. And that's how I was able to drag it all together. But it's not nearly as it's safe, if you will. It's always got a chance of, dragging a formula to the next cell, and then you can't figure out where that came from. So there's all that to deal with. And we're not necessarily going to hand this whole file over to somebody, but those that are dealing with it have the opportunity to messing it up. And you don't have, it's a lot of that goes away in a SQL database. So I think that's where we're going to end up. And then the trick will then be to get reports that are pertinent, and let those reports you can click on that report and it comes up, here's the information I was looking for. So it's continues to work in progress. Ed's Panyard is very much up his alley, and he's done a great job of dragging that together. The communications committee is looking towards summer now, and along with their monthly reports and newsletters and whatever that they put out, they're looking toward the summer and some activities. I don't think ready to talk about any of that just yet. Their plans are still working, for what they're looking to do.
Very good.
So, and I think that's about it, other than stuff we'll talk about a bit.
All right. Very good. Board members, any individual? Okay, very good. Then we'll move on to the clerk for, we are looking at opening some, received cemetery well bids, from the advertisements and the specifications. For the record, how many did we get?
We received one on
Oh.
March 26th.
Like, I communicated with certainly more than one.
I know you can only take the horse to water.
Yeah,
but you
yeah,
can't
I let them
drink.
the water, but I guess they're not gonna drink, I guess, yeah. Very true, good analogy.
Okay, so do you want to talk about this or anything? The bid is for $12,069.40.
69,
It's
40.
actually cheaper than it's Jordan Well Drilling,
Gordon, okay.
and it's actually cheaper than what we saw a year ago. Not by much, but like $400, so
On an initial estimate. or
on an
something
initial
there
estimate, yeah.
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 Just a rough idea for, how much we thought we might for budgeting.
Yeah.
In there. If you want, I can,
Let's do it.
it's just,
Well,
we have to go over
but I would recommend that between now and April 14th, that our supervisor make sure that we have, that meets the specs, and then make the recommendation to vote on it on the 14th.
I'm fine with that.
Okay,
I'm fine with it.
okay.
Yeah, just give me a copy or something, and I have my specs right here, and I will be happy to go over that.
Okay,
All right?
yep.
And hopefully by then, maybe April 14th, we can see if we're going to let that bid. Okay? Stick that over in that one now. Okay? Very good. Obviously Jordan did wells here.
You worked hard here.
He did a very, very good job for us.
I have no problem with the bidder. I think
diligence
it's
is
always a
appropriate.
good idea to make sure that you have the right specs
Yep.
per what was advertised.
Well, you need it for what you advertise for. Correct. Okay, moving right along, we are now to that septic ordinance. I'm hesitant to say that because it's a framework from the Health of Higgins Lake Steering Committee and the discussion. So that came in, by our last meetings, if you will, but the day before a meeting. And I said, board, please look at it for a month, for 30 days. Please see if there's what I'll call backbreakers that absolutely this board would potentially never vote for before we make a decision. And then the decision before us today and it is to either send it back to the Health of Higgins Lake Steering Committee, and then obviously with some, they can have some instruction too as to the septic eventually back to that committee. They've done a body of work here. They chose to do it, although we never said go do an ordinance. They chose to do it in this fashion so that it had some framework, if you will, for discussion and getting everybody's mind together and wrapped around, rather than just what I call haphazard discussion and a bunch of bullet points. So I thought that was wise with the septic committee. So that being said, it is our time today, and I will start with Jim. Why don't we start your side?
Could we do it this way?
Go ahead. What do you want?
Jim was been key on that committee.
Yes, correct.
And I think for the purpose of those that are sitting out here that don't know what we're talking about, maybe just quickly highlight the premise or the
That's
main
where I was headed.
points within here, such as point of sale,
Correct.
And just get the general meat potatoes, and then we could talk about,
Yeah, that's where I was headed. Jim Osling.
we think of.
I should have said trustee Osling, and then we would have been okay. Go ahead, Jim. Kind of give us that, if you will.
Well, we started taking a look at this about a year ago as to the need for a septic ordinance. We established a septic committee when the Health of Higgins Lake initiative got started, and that we had a couple of meetings to talk about what the direction we ought to go, how we should approach this, if it was a, an actual ordinance or if it was a suggestion or whatever. We understood that the process was going to be that the septic committee would put together a recommendation and send it to the steering committee for the health of Higgins Lake, who would then decide if it made sense with the overall picture for the health of Higgins Lake. And if so, their recommendation would then be sent up to the township board. And that's where it sits right now. The septic committee went back and we took a look at several different, I think 3 different ordinances that we could find that appeared to be sort of similar to what we were to our area, and took pieces of those and created kind of I guess that my suggestion was to create the framework that looked like an ordinance that was a little easier to follow than just a couple pages of recommendations to start over from. So it felt easier to get our arms around the whole thing by putting together this in sort of a ordinance format. So we took a look at a couple of different ordinances that are out there and tailored them to what we thought needed to happen in Gerrish Township, and came up with this revision 6.2 that's in front of you now. There's a executive summary that goes in front of it that sort of covers the what's to follow. I'm not going to read that, but I'm going to pick off a couple of pieces on it here to talk about. And the first one is that ordinance regulates all on-site wastewater treatment disposal systems and private water wells in the township, covering both residential and commercial properties. Public water supplies are regulated by others, so we didn't get down that road too far. All premises permits from the Central Michigan District Health Department are required for construction, installation, and alteration of a private water system. We're keeping very much the health department involved in everything we're doing. The understanding is that we have an ordinance. Back up on that. The health department has a level of compliance that they enforce over their 6-county area, the Central Michigan District Health Department, as does all the other health departments. I don't know, whatever, there's 12 or 15 district health departments in the state. Each one has their own level of compliance. Their level of compliance, we feel, is not really enough for what we want to have happen here. And they will allow, for example, by policy, if a drain field is at 50% of the required code specifications, they will approve it. Everything else being equal, but they can go down to like 50% of the requirements. And that just opens it up for, now we've got drain fields right up against the lake that are only half compliant, only halfway to what they thought was a good idea. So we felt in general that Gerrish we would develop an ordinance that met the other needs that we wanted, the things to, so we could do we could raise the compliance level in Gerrish Township so that it met our needs. So now the way the ordinance will likely come down, or our suggestion would be that the health department would be called. Somebody's needs to have a new drain field or a new septic. They'd call the health department. The health department would go through the whole process that they do, and they would say, yeah, you're compliant with us. You're 80% of the drain field size that you need. However, you are not compliant with Gerrish's. So you need to bring your specs up to Gerrish's and Gerrish's ordinance. They would then work with us. The health department would explain to them what our ordinance is, what their requirements would be, and monitor the progress toward that compliance. And but they won't enforce it. We will have to find our own way to enforce that extra level of compliance that goes past their purview. So that's kind of a general overlying theme of where our ordinance is a little bit different than some others are out there. They just didn't look like the health department. Now they're great to work with and they'll do whatever we want, but they've got their rules and their management and their direction that they have to follow. And so, we're looking for, the other thing that we're doing that most people aren't doing is we're going with an inspection process. We're going to inspect theoretically every property every residential and commercial property in Gerrish Township, some 3,000 properties, and make sure that we understand the condition of that property. We've gathered together the information so far that the health department has on file. That was their purple dot program where they went in and took all of the file cabinet information and digitized it, and then took that digitized information and put it into their database, ran a report, sent it to us, and we enter that into our own spreadsheet so we can track their level of compliance. Along with it, we have gathered information from the assessor and from the clerk's office on the other demographic information in the township, the property ID and the name and address and mailing address and the subdivisions that they're in and the locations and all the other information about these properties. And we added that on to melded those two together. In addition to that, we took the information from a company, Eagle Well Logic program, and added that into the spreadsheet. So now we can take a look at a bunch of categories. We're evaluating 20 different categories and there are fields of information from the demographics to the health department to the well logic, and came up with a score for each property. Some of those scores are very good. It's a scale of 1 to 100. Some of them are very good because they have records on file. They're compliant. They're, in some sense, they're not in subdivision, whatever we can go through the mechanics of that if you'd like, but through that evaluation process, we've kind of identified where properties are lacking in their compliance with the information. We need the information to know who is done a good job of maintaining their system or complying with the health department rules, and those that are not. So what we found now is that there are a bunch of properties that are not compliant, and those are the ones that we want to make sure that we get inspections on. And those inspections will be done over the next however long that takes. It's not going to be done. They're not going to get them all this summer. There's I can't remember now if it's 1,500 or so that would be my guess that would need to have new inspections. And so that's key to moving this ordinance forward, is getting that inspection done. So now we can do an evaluation, a summary evaluation of what's going on in the township, and that'll help us a bit to determine, to what level of, to what degree do we have to issue compliance for these properties. Drinking water, we suggested in the ordinance that that we also monitor and get testing done for the domestic water in the township. I've requested some information from the health department, and if what I got back was right, I think there's more to come. But from what I got back, there's very, very few water well testing data, and so we're going to want to see about making that happen so that we know. This becomes a stretch from there's a kind of a line now between your septic system and your domestic water system. One kind of as a potential contaminant, and the other one is a potential receptor of the problem. So it's a public health issue at that point, you know, to going through this, the water testing piece of it. We're into the inspection of the septics piece of it. It makes sense to us that we take the next step and we also do the water well testing as well as a public health issue. Property transfers, inspections are required before property transfers. This is still in the ordinance. Inspections are required before property transfers or building permits are issued. Drinking water testing and bacteria and nitrates is mandated inspection and transfer. There's been some question that's come up to me. It's been, you know, suggested that I wanted to pull out transfers or time of transfer. My comment was, we're already getting inspections. We're going to get inspection on every piece of property if we move forward with this ordinance. Doing it at time of transfer doesn't really buy you very much. We had 100 properties transfer last year, and we're going to capture all those anyway in this. So, but if you want to do it, if it makes sense and you like time of transfer, I got no problem.
Yeah,
with
that's
it, but
50-year ordinance.
Well, if you did it in along with the timeline that you got here, you know, because you're looking at some point, everybody's going to get inspected. If you're doing that time of transfer at the same, you know, along with that, it just puts them to the top of the
Yeah.
pile. And
exactly, yep.
and you know, I think that anybody is buying a new home should for their own benefit have that looked at. So I have no problem leaving that in there with in conjunction with the other, because we're planning on all of them get tested at some point. All it does is put you to the higher on the list, and it should be.
I have absolutely no problem with it. That's fine. It's one more level of enforcement that possibly you could go do without, but I think it makes sense. It moves them to the top. It gets them done. It provides that level of you know, confidence in the sale of a new house or an existing house. So it's probably a good idea. I'm way okay with it. So,
And I don't know, I don't remember this being in here, but you know, if let's say the house is 2 years old and everything's documented, maybe all they gotta do is just do.
well, chances are, if it's 2 years old, they have already had an inspection and a compliance, and they're good to go. So it just show them paperwork and they move on.
Exactly.
You know, that's,
Exactly.
you know, so
Exactly.
this would catch those that are.
But some houses
20 years
been
old.
sitting there, yeah, exactly. It's been sitting there for 20 years, 30 years, and that you don't know what's down there. But I want that at the top. And as the person buying it, it's definitely for that benefit.
Yep. So it's still in here, and it, you know, so I'd say it just stays, that's fine. One of the things that probably would raise an eyebrow is variances are by design very limited in this ordinance, where they just don't make a lot of room for a lot of variances. You know, if you're not in compliance with the ordinance, we want you to get in compliance with it. So that's something that you should take a good look at and make sure that you're okay with the way that's written and the way that ends up. So
Jim, I know you and I have had discussions about variances. And I just want to make sure that a homeowner would be, that we are somehow it's open to what I call, and that has to be a health department work with them on these creative solutions that you see in peninsulas and where they do them. I forget what the name of them are, but where they do an L shape or something, which could keep them or get them into as much compliance as possible. I'd hate to have anything that precludes anyone from having to sell just because it can't get a variance of any nature. And that's where I think the planning commission can sort a lot of stuff out. But I know that health department has to do with, I'm just going to call it a creative system.
yeah, I think an example of that is that came up, that there was a property that we looked at it not that long ago. The health department looked at it, and their septic or their drain field was not compliant. and they were going back and forth trying to figure out how to get this. They had no more real estate on their property to be able to move this, to make it compliant. They offered up a solution which was advanced treatment and at their expense, and that was a great solution, and that worked out fine. But they could have, and under this ordinance, they never did get to the proper square footage. So that sort of raises that flag a little bit. I think that would have given us an opportunity to say, this particular property butted up to another much, much larger piece of property. And they could have approached that neighbor to see if they could not have purchased a small chunk of real estate to cover the, those are the kind of solutions we're looking to have people go down that road to,
Agreed.
let's look a little further into trying to make your properties compliant and, make this.
Yeah, I kind of like the, how can we instead of just we can't. What can we do, not a what can't we do approach. That's all I'm concerned about on the variance piece.
This is a police powers ordinance to be enforced by the police department, so that there's civil fines involved if people don't comply, and as opposed to a zoning ordinance. So
Yeah, because we run into the same thing with the zoning ordinance. It's all grandfather, and anything you're going to want to get to that are challenging property are grandfather pieces. So that again, I hate that. I hate the definition or the words police powered, but it's a different way of enacting an ordinance, as we did with short-term rental.
My thoughts, looking, what I've read and what I know, would be not to send this back to the steering committee, because I think they've done their due diligence. They are aware that this may not ultimately be the same word or, body that came out of there once it filters through the planning commission and back. But I'm comfortable sending this on to the planning commission. And one of the things that Jim didn't mention is, I don't think anyways, is that the health department, they met with the committee and they have offered to sit with our planning commission to help draft this ordinance. So, and I intend to take them up on that. I think that'd be very helpful. I think as a board, if we have any issues with what's in this, that we need to instruct the planning commission, or at least inform them of what our concerns are, so that they could take that into consideration when they start working on this. Otherwise, they're going to use their own best guess. And I would assume and hope that Jim is there when they start this process, and maybe even through it, because I think all of the information that you've got in your noggin right now and in your notebook is going to be very helpful, because you've done a ton of legwork that the planning commission traditionally would have done. It doesn't need to be redone. So that, but from what I've read here and what I know, I'm comfortable sending this on to the planning commission, and I know that I'm on that commission, so I'll be working with it as well. But I think you guys did a great job. You put a lot of time and effort into it, and I really appreciate, because those people did this on that committee. This was donated time and knowledge and effort because they want to do the right thing, and as well as all of the Health of Higgins Lake committees. This is our township, our community putting their input in there. This isn't a bunch of bureaucrats that are sitting around a table like we are.
Right.
So I appreciate that, but I don't have a problem with the premise of what's in this. I'm sure that the group of the planning commission looks at things a little differently, because they have that zoning and the master plan and all the other things they're going to take into consideration as they as they go through this, and then how to enforce it, some of the practical things. So, anyways, that's where I'm at.
I agree.
Mary Jo, your thoughts?
Well said.
Okay.
I don't really have anything to
No.
add. We're on the right program.
No, I really don't have anything to add. The few little things that I had were like not of significance, and I have communicated that with Jim.
I saw your notes, and some of that stuff
Oh, yeah.
get moved around.
Right,
That could happen. This is gonna go to
Yeah.
the plan commission.
Yeah.
They're gonna come back to us.
Yep.
At that point, we can tweak it ourselves or send it back. I would strongly encourage us to have the planning commission do the
Yep.
final on this one. I know in the short-term rental, we ended up spending a lot of time on our own, but this particular case, I think it'd be important that the final product actually come out of the planning commission.
Absolutely.
Us making changes after the fact.
Okay.
That's my thoughts.
Guess it's time for mine, eh?
Huh?
Guess it's time for mine, huh?
Yeah.
I'm gonna, first off, Jim and I have already talked, definitions, and I see that they have given us the beginning work as well for the appendix.
I gave you earlier, there's a
Yep.
definitions and a couple of pieces that need to go on, that should have gone on the original one, but
Yes.
so just add those to it as a part of the order.
Yeah, and I see that, and I've been kind of mulling those over because in comparison to what I had. And then I have a real concern in the element then about enforcement, as everyone else is going to. Who is going to enforce? How will it occur? This is not the enforcement of this. I want to make sure everybody understands. We're not as prepared as a township like we were with short-term rentals that have already those cogs in place. We had the computer programming to do it. We had everything we needed to create documents for it or otherwise. And so as the planning commission goes, and you're our liaison, one of my concerns is we need to talk about that. We meaning they do, about, the Central Michigan Department Health Code. And although they are in such a complementary working stage right now, we're kind of in the mess we are because it really wasn't very detailed, very oriented. They've since got GIS and things like that now involved in their dots. But it hadn't been the most what I call coordinated looking of an event. And I've got thanks that we've got them now at the table, but we really need to talk about that because as you pointed out, they have their rules and their policies and what they can and can't enforce, which I don't want anybody leaving thinking that, the township at some point might not have to have an individual themselves.
Let me just add to
Yes,
that,
sir.
then you go on, but I think it's important that everybody understands that the health department is taking a look at what we're doing, and in the, 10 meetings I've had with the health department over the last year, they couldn't be happier, and
Yes.
they're anxious to see how this comes down and how the data that we've put together, and they're talking about how this works in other areas within the Central Michigan District Health, that they're taking it to their other districts to take a look at. A lot of people have got their eyes on this approach to see
Great.
how it sorts out. So
Outstanding.
they understand that, like I said, they have a level that they have to deal with, and we want a higher level.
Yes.
And what's the mechanics of making that happen? And they're very much working with
And
us.
we may have to, as I say, provide the higher level that they can't ourselves at some point. That's not a discussion for today, but it certainly is an awareness for the future.
Well, I think you also need to take them from a practical standpoint. We are now in April 2nd or 3rd.
second.
14, if we
And
make a motion.
I realize that, but my point is, you mentioned something about this summer. This is gonna be, it's gonna take a while.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
what you have a very important point is how do we cover the cost of
And the
doing
marrying
it?
of it all.
So there's a lot of things gotta be worked out. I know you guys have had discussions in your committee about how to approach that. I'm not sure how this is all gonna play out. I know budgetarily wise, we can't pick up more costs without picking up more revenue to offset it. So, those are things that have got to be worked through, but conceptually, I like what I see. And I know you guys have done your due diligence.
Yeah, with your comments, though, I want to make a comment because I don't want public running out there and around going, oh, yeah, this is a backdoor to, give me a whole bunch of money and whatever. We aren't even at that stage to discuss anything. And that relationship with CMDHD has to be worked out, but it has to be on our mind as a whole. And as Jim said, this isn't coming out next month. This isn't coming out the month after. This isn't summer and happening. These things, as you know, we started with short-term rental. I thought that would be quicker, and that was over a year to give it its proper due. And we will give this its proper due as well in a proper form when it finally comes out. Secondly, I want to also pick the public scab, if you will, just so that it's on record. They do have a section in here that's section 6, and it has a connection to public sewer headline and I call it basically a disclaimer. In the event a public sewer system becomes available to the residents of Gerrish Township, all owners would then be required to hook up to it. That is not the intent of the Gerrish Township Board to create a sewer system. The intent of the Gerrish Township Board is 100% solely focused on a septic and public water well on-site discussion. Now, why I say that for the Planning Commission and for everybody else, I don't know, does it need to be in there now, or do you wait and send that as an amendment if a sewer came down the road 8 years? Because I don't want to fight that misinformation and distorted information or otherwise.
Well, I'm going to speak, and then Jim's going to follow up with me. But I bet that when you went through and looked at every one of those ordinances, they had that in there because it's more of a standard wording. It's a default.
Yeah.
And that's
Yes.
because if you ever did go get a USDA grant and you did put a sewer system in,
It's already there.
the requirement is that every parcel that's in that district or whatever has to be hooked up. That's a standard wording. But you're right. There's no inference in here that we're planning on putting in a sewer system. It's just that is always the default, that if for some reason you had one 10 years from now, it just states that you're going to hook up to it. And that's common sense.
That is my shot across the bow to anybody
I get
that will
you.
handle this for the
I get
future
you.
at the Planning Commission or otherwise. We need to manage all of those things as well. And I'm not saying it's a deal breaker for me. I understand
Yeah,
what
Jim's absolutely right. It
Yes.
carry over from boilerplate that came in, and I've read it over 10 times. And it's, to me, it seems kind of innocuous. It's just, but it does raise a point
following
that-
a distrust
Now-
period is the issue.
But
we
we're
can
not even
always,
having
we
that.
can always,
discussion.
we can scratch it and we can
No.
always
Please
add
not
it
as
into
high
an
on
ordinance
the
if it
list.
ever
Yeah.
becomes.
Put it at the end.
That's why I'm publicly declaring it today at this meeting. Okay, and it's gonna be on, it's gonna be on the YouTube and on Zoom and out to you folks in the public. So that and I'm gonna shout it from the highest peaks because we're not going back to to defeat ourselves before we get started.
I think where you put that wooden stake in the heart already. I think
We did, but that doesn't seem to be good enough sometimes. So, all right. Anybody else have any comments about that? Public? Here. Yes, come on up though. Well, we may not have an answer because we're not the answer body at this point. We're the moving body to move it there. Hey, Mike, can you cut that heat now? Thank you much.
Charlene Cornell. I just wonder who's on the septic committee
Who's on the septic
Yeah.
committee?
with you?
Quite a list.
It is, bear with me.
Well, I can look it up. I just.
No, I can tell you, I got it in here in a bunch of papers. I'm the chair, Pat Springstead.
You were the chair.
On the septic committee, I'm still the
Oh,
chair.
you're still the chair. That's right. I'm
Yes.
sorry.
That's
Steering
Last I
committee.
knew,
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah, you
I
are.
was in-
You are. You are.
And stay there, please. Yeah.
That's why we got you to keep me straight.
Jenny Walker, Gary Kapinski, Lowell Buttman, Rick Shoemaker, Teresa Finos, Catherine Voigt, Jeff Zabel, and Melanie Brown. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 11 people.
Super. Thank you.
Sure thing.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Told you it was easy.
On Zoom.
Think you're doing a good job. I agree.
I don't know who talked.
Mr.
Rob,
Janowski.
thank you.
Yep.
Okay, all right, so then everybody agree we want to move forward now on, and I will draft a motion to approve moving this on to the planning commission. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
Yes, okay. In the form presented from the Health of Higgins Lake Steering Committee and as recommended by the Health of Higgins Lake Septic to that steering committee. Good with that?
Yep.
All right, we're moving on. That is an April 14th, where we have a little space to breathe here this month between meetings. All right, we are on to number 8, which is the traffic safety study request. That was the West Maplehurst. It was west to East Higgins Lake Drive. For Mr. Tim Coffey, I had gave you all of the emailed information. I said, hey, go drive out there, do what you got to do, take a look, see what you think. Whether or not you wish to move this forward to the Roscommon County Road Commission, which would entail nothing more, nothing less than the, I guess the clerk's office usually handles this, requesting a traffic study of that nature in that area to the Roscommon County Road Commission. Let's comment. Jim, we'll go you left or whatever.
Yeah, I've obviously driven that specifically since that request came in, and I understand his concern. Can we, if we send the a request off to the road commission for a study, can we send along some recommendations or some thoughts or concerns along with it, or?
Well, we usually do. It would be something along the lines, obviously, of what the concern was to begin with, which was on that particular one, which is the actual speed piece for the safety of walkers and runners and bikers in that particular one. We can also, they're going to look at West Maplehurst, likely, I would say, as a whole, if you will, there. And we can certainly ask them to look at it that from a freeway all the way down to the lake or something. If that's what you're thinking or no,
Well,
but yes, we can.
I'd like to, instead of the road commission, I'm not sure, I'm not saying they would at all, but I mean, if they just look at this and the actual sterile numbers come back and say, well, there's no justification for a reduction in speed, I'd like them to know that I feel that
Sure.
there's the opportunity for a reduction in speed, as it is for almost all the roads in Gerrish Township, frankly.
Yeah.
Other than maybe 100 that, you know, that's a,
Because right now that's 55.
yeah,
Non-posted 55, absolutely.
that's moving. That's 45 is plenty comfortable, plenty, you know, comfortable is more like 40 to me. 45 ought to be.
Well, those folks, I'm going to tell you right now, that is all determined by a national highway formula on an 85th percentile. And so we may wish that it'd like to be 35, but they'll do that 85th percentile and see what it comes back. And then that would be their
Well,
guiding
so
light.
when you want.
Because there's also a driveway count and an intersection count and all those things. There's a formula.
Mhm.
And, but I personally myself, I don't see a problem with sending it forward to do our due diligence. And I like your comment about, hey, listen, after personally driving it, 55 is is,
Mhm.
is,
It's
I
cooking.
mean, if we have an opportunity to influence what that number is, if we don't.
We
well,
really
okay,
don't.
But
we don't, but we
We
can
don't.
put it on a record that
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
asking
right.
that in the traffic
Right, okay.
safety study, if you will. And, I want my, shall we say, plausible deniability in the ultimate end. We ask it. And we get back though. We have no other seat at the
Yeah.
table. We cannot overrule it. We can't whatever. And the way it is laid out for process, the board has to do something. I did read further and it said the board could opt out, Gerrish Township Board. But if you opt out, you give up your right to even say anything. And I know that's why boards of the past have said, go ahead, put us in the middle, because the road commission, the first thing they do is say, I can't do anything unless the town board says so and requests. So I think it would be unwise for us to opt out totally. You should have at least your opportunity.
Absolutely.
I know there's a couple more on here to discuss this on,
One.
but on Maplehurst specifically, that request was from County Road 100 to East Higgins Lake Drive.
That is
Yeah.
correct. That would be the.
Maplehurst continues to the lake and it continues back to the east from over to Murphy Road and then to the expressway.
Yep.
And there's a hill on Murphy between 100 and Murphy Road that is every bit as problematic as the one that's, down there. I think we should be sure that we include, I'd like to suggest we include all of Maplehurst in that study.
All the way to the lake, you're saying?
Yes.
From the expressway to the lake.
So listening to.
50 miles an hour on a motorcycle.
You already know.
Oh, yeah, deer.
Oh, yeah.
So what I'm hearing so far is maybe potentially a motion to approve a traffic study on triple traffic safety study, safety/speed study on West Maplehurst Road from I-75 westbound to the waters of Higgins Lake.
I-75.
Can I ask a question?
You can ask all you want.
So.
That's what you're here
is
for.
this the only road? If you were to cut from west of 100 and south of Federal Highway, to box it into Lake, is that the only road that's 55?
Sunset's 55 as it goes down, all the way down to
Oh, it is.
East Higgins Lake and Welt. And
All the way to the
now,
lake it is?
No. East Higgins Lake Drive is very segmentalized, and this is where there's confusion. A portion of Burdell is actually East Higgins Lake Drive.
Yeah.
From East Higgins Lake Drive back east to East Higgins Lake Drive, where East Higgins Lake turns back south towards our corners out here, the main corner of 103 and whatever. And so Welt, where East Higgins Lake Drive is up, at the end of Sunset, at the foot of that, okay, that then is the 45 mile an hour down to the Welt curve. But going up the hill and coming all the way down the hill from County Road 101 are all 55 mile an hour.
I mean, what I think about it, is that area that I just kind of, as far as I'm concerned, the maximum speed on any road in there shouldn't be more than 45.
Yeah, well.
But that's I mean, I don't drive Sunset, so I don't, but that's got some hills on it. Yeah, I wouldn't feel comfortable running down that at 55 miles an hour.
Well, they've been doing it for years, just so you know.
Not only that, it's just a matter of how many incidents have happened there. And I mean, we did this with Core on the corner there, trying to get speed limit reduction.
And they wouldn't
all.
hit 45 all
We
the way
didn't
down
get
there.
that, and that was a school zone.
We got some school zone signs up
Yeah.
there and a little crosswalk in hopes of slowing down because it didn't fit the 85th percentile going down the hill. I was involved in that, trying to get that done. So there are just a myriad of, I call them I can'ts in the AASHTO books, the highway safety books that they have to adhere to an engineer.
And it's not our place to decide that.
No.
It would be we need to move it forward to.
That's right now.
us.
Yes.
Again,
I'm
that's
fine with
their
it.
decision.
All right. So were you fine with what I read for April 14th?
Yep.
Which was a motion to approve a traffic safety/speed study on West Maplehurst Road from I-75 westbound to the waters of Higgins Lake.
Yep.
Okay, all right. I will also remind all you folks, this takes a very long time to.
And that won't happen when you want it to.
It'll never happen this summer, but. Yeah, you too, John.
I just
You
mean
good?
with the seasonality of our traffic and that it's.
Yeah. Well, we suffer from old plating and that kind of thing here. And it's very tough in this township. Okay, so are we good to move on past 8? I have created the remnants of some here for later for April 14th to move. We are now on to number 9. Number 9 is a traffic safety request for speed, sight distance of a possible hidden intersection of Rolling Oaks Drive and County Road 100. There's also in the mix there a no pass or a passing permissive zone that when somebody obviously is going southbound on County Road 100, you can pass there, which does come right at that intersection as well. And so I think, first off, I'm only going to apologize, not for myself, but for the previous administration. Mr. Janowski, I know you're on the line. We've done some research here and we found a 2023 request to a previous board of your same concern. And I have just become aware of your concern last month. So I gave the board all of the information on this. And our job here is once again, the same thing, is do we move on to have the road commission look into this with the traffic safety concerns that I've listed. And I know that Mr. Janowski wanted to have a couple words or some words about the request, and he's here. So let's open it up on Zoom to Mr. Janowski.
Okay, well, thank you for letting me have the opportunity. And I hope you do take some of these seriously.
We take them all serious.
Yeah, I know.
We do.
I just learned a lot with, what you just said, which it is going to be difficult. I understand.
Yep.
But I still have the concern. Okay, with all the development, the township, has come to, I think it is time to make a change on Cut Road completely. 55 is, it's called Cut Road because you cut through it and to avoid I-75. You can get to the same destination, by taking different routes. So, everybody cuts through it, hence the word cut.
That's convenient, but I believe it was named after the Cut River.
Definitely.
Okay. Well,
I get it.
Thank you for that, but okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Like you said, Pioneer Hills, that curve, you technically can do that at 55. That's just a suggested, which is crazy.
Mhm.
I've driven NASCARs and there's no way I could take that curve at 55. Okay, so, you have the Dollar General store, and I know there's been maybe accidents or near misses there because I see the lines of the cars going off the road trying to avoid an accident if they did, because I drive down there every day. Then you got the township building, the compost, the fire department, police station, and the recreation area. You're doing 55 down that road. And then as you've all said, and we all know, we have a lot of walkers and bike riders, up and down all around the lake, Higgins Lake Drive. And at 55, that's dangerous. I slow down myself, but if you don't have to, you don't have to. And if somebody gets clipped, look at Tiger Woods. I mean, stuff happens. It's unfortunate. It shouldn't take an accident to make a change. As goes for, police officers saying, there was a deer hit. Okay, I think probably we all have hit a deer. I hit one at 35 miles an hour, still drove my truck home. You hit a deer at 55, you know, the airbag's going to deploy and you know, hopefully you don't hit a tree. I mean, there's a big difference, you know, what you lower it to. I mean, just like you talk about Maplehurst, I mean, 45. I mean, you know, I'm retired. I'm in no hurry to get anywhere. I just want to get there safe. So that's my, you know, opinion of it. But,
Rob,
you know,
my
again,
recommendation would be, yours is a specific request for your area there.
mhm,
And I think what we should do is, we should look at that first.
okay,
And keep in mind, I've had other people that have talked to me about this 45 miles an hour, you know, reduction from 55 to 45. I
Okay.
don't want to convolute the two because I
Right.
think you'll defeat yourself before you start.
Probably.
That's just my years of working in that environment. But that doesn't mean that we as a board don't make that request later. When I say later on, it doesn't have to be a lot later on, but
Right.
we have to hash it. If we put these two together and move them to the road commission, I hazard to think how long.
So
this
if you send it,
take.
you've dealt with them before. If you send this request, which as it's pretty much written here,
Specific to Maplehurst, or between West Maplehurst and Burdell, to look at safety, speed, passing zone signage.
yeah. With the intention, with the understanding, you probably would request a reduction in speed
Yeah,
for that half mile. Will they, if they look at that, they go, no, we can't do that for half a mile and just set this aside?
yeah. We can have when this moves forward, they're certainly going to have some specific questions. And at that time, it would be appropriate for us to say, hey, if we can solve some of this with a 45 look, you tell us how you'd like to do this. How would you like to do this to make that intersection safer? Speed's a big issue, obviously, on County Road 100. In that, and the problem with speed is, folks, is they can go hang the traffic counter out there and the speed counter and all the rest of that. Depends on what time of year they hang that thing out there and do the study, and get a different 85th percentile result. Seen it happen. So yes, Jim, I think very much so, and let them make a decision about which way they'd rather handle this particular request. And with the township open to the 45, but I also think that and I don't know, and I'm guessing this comes from the manual again, that permissive passing right at that Rolling Oak. Now, Rolling Oak's a 25-year-old subdivision? I think it's the last one the township put in. And so since then, the pavement's been lettered and the passings with care zones go on. So I don't know whether that's something that they would look at or not, but anything we don't look at, we don't say they aren't going to look at. So I think you say it. And then I think that we have that conversation. Chief Mashinsky can have that conversation as well with the road commission manager. And I can have the conversation as well with the road commission to talk about, hey, when are we going to address the bigger Magilla, which is County Road 100, from whether it's from the cut corner to Pioneer Hill,
The school to 200.
do you see what I'm saying? 104 is already out there. They've got a bunch of, reduced to 35 or something there. You know what I mean? So our issue really is probably like it's further than past the cut curve, isn't it? When does it turn 45, John? Do you remember? Past the Cut River Grill?
Yeah, when you get out of those curves, it's 45 that stretch out.
So is it 45 on the Cut River Bridge?
That I believe is.
Yeah. Okay, so what we would be talking about eventually is from the cut curve right there up to Pioneer Hill at a 45 look.
Perfect.
Cause in the wintertime, you have to be watching for the cross-country ski people walking
Yeah,
across. there.
absolutely,
It's just a whole other-
So
absolutely.
that's,
Yeah,
in the summertime, that's not an issue,
Yeah.
but in the winter, man, I'm always looking, cause they're standing on one side of the road or the other.
Yeah.
Yep.
across.
Yeah. Your trouble is when they get ultimately to the seventh district, traffic, MSP traffic folks that have to ultimately prove everything. They'll come down and take a look at it when that's closed.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, that's been my,
yeah,
I ran into that with Oakwood by the high school as
Yeah.
well, trying to get that into something that, kids and teachers didn't tear down.
So we put together a request to the road commission for, as you just mentioned,
Yes.
and then just see how that goes. And then after
Well-
that, consider,
And I think we make just a verbal discussion out of the 45. Let's see what they come up with on this. See if they come to the common sense approach that maybe 45 ought to be looked at as the whole approach,
okay.
but have the discussion. That's my thoughts. Again, I don't want to be the one that doesn't do due diligence on this. I don't know why the previous board didn't act on it. I suspect because not many knew about it, maybe, I don't know.
I
But
believe so.
at the end of the day, I'm in agreement with all of you about the 45, certainly on County Road 100 as well. But this particular one also is, I don't know what the site distance is, but we'll certainly be told whether it's adequate or not. Looking back north on County Road 100 or North Cut.
Evaluation of the no passing signs.
And then an evaluation of that, is that really wise? Shouldn't that be a double yellow perhaps? But again, I suspect those are all going to be answered in a book, but, but the question before us is, would you like us to authorize the clerk to send the letter in the same fashion as we had discussed before on the last one?
Right, you're gonna put it on the agenda for April.
Correct.
Yeah, it goes for a motion. We're not motioning anything today on either one. There'll be a regular meeting motion April 14th and a call for question.
I'm in agreement.
I'm in
Yep.
agreement with that.
Sounds good.
Not our
All right.
place to decide.
All right, very good. I will craft a motion and I may make a probe a little bit with Roger Saxton and Neil Bellinger, our engineer, about this whole piece and then that 45, if the board is okay with it
Yep.
after April 14th, what you authorize. Fair enough?
Yep.
Okay, can I, when you do, hopefully propose a straight 45, yourself, how many accidents at Robinson Lake and Cut Road? I mean,
Yeah.
there was just a couple last year, so,
Wouldn't-
just
Robin,
keep it in mind.
It would encompass from the Cut
Right.
River curve,
Yeah,
first curve, all the way back to Pioneer Hill.
okay,
That
perfect.
would be in my discussion. Just because again, we have had more
Right.
traffic on 100 due to growth and that kind of thing. And, we do have,
Okay.
trailers out here that use that compost site that I wonder how we don't have rear end
Yeah.
access.
Yeah.
Out there, so.
In the middle of.
All right, you good with that?
Yeah.
Mr. Janowski, any parting
Aye.
comments on that?
100%, I agree, and
Thank
thank
you.
you for your responses, all of you. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, we are then now down to number 10. And that is, as you know, we quickly wrangled together and we have a possible appointment here for Mr. Trudeau, Stephen Trudeau. Steve's in the audience. Steve was so interested in, he actually sat through all of the border review stuff, even though we hadn't quite appointed him yet to that. And to his own admission, learned quite a bit and that kind of thing. But we need to make this official. And so we are going to need a motion to place him on he would be the alternate in the alternate position. Also, method to the madness, that we do have one or two that look like they may retire
Yeah.
this next year. I know for sure Jerry McReynolds put me on notice. He's usually the chair of that. And so he would be somebody, Steve would be that obviously we get him off to all the trainings and would then slide into one of those full positions, full voting positions, if you will, not just an alternate. And then we would be looking for an alternate after that. But the appointment of him would fill our board up.
Nice.
Okay. So is there anybody, do you guys have any heartache over that?
Nope,
No.
thankfully you stepped up.
Yeah, thank you,
So,
yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. And so I got to get the tenure date. So I'll get
yeah.
that for April 14th. We'll do that at a regular meeting on the 14th and make that, I thank you for what you've done so far. More than appreciated. Okay. All right. So we got a motion to approve
Got 9 motions?
Trudeau. I have 7 motions.
I have 9.
How do you have 9?
Oh, because I wrote,
Huh?
Maplehurst and Rolling Oak twice.
I have,
We talked about it at the police thing and then we talked about it again at the end. So it is 7.
I might be lacking one here about the well.
I
Let's
have
get the
that.
well.
I have that. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4,
So we'll have the well.
5, 6, 7.
Let me look it over.
Yeah.
I'll just make a note here to make sure we're on the same page.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
So we have that. So we are at the conclusion of the agenda items for today. And so we are on, we would be on the public comment section up to and
Could
including
I-
the weather. What would you like? Public comments in the room. Not seeing hands on Zoom.
I got one more on Zoom, of course,
Okay, the floor is
my
yours
wife
now.
Yeah, my wife had to remind me, and I didn't mention it. I had a brother-in-law who was walking down a road and a semi truck went by and it literally pulled him in. And the only thing left to identify him was his fingerprints. So, a lot of semis are traveling down
Yeah.
100. Okay, and then listening to beginning with your drone thing, a good idea for drone practice, maybe think about doing your drone practice at the Coors field on Sunset. It's wide open because, until you get used to the joysticks, it's like, driving backwards.
Yep,
Um,
sure is.
and you got a wide open field there. You could put some markers down for targets or whatever. Because I fly drones and, it helps to have, as good as I am, stuff happens.
Yep.
So just a suggestion, maybe take your training over to that field. It's perfect.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all. Appreciate it.
Yep. Anybody else on Zoom? Okay. So moving right along, Mary Jo, final board comment.
Nope, good meeting. All good.
Okay, Michelle.
Yes, we have all the ballots sent out for absentee ballots for the May 6th election. But what we have found is that a lot of people who are snowbirds apparently did not give us an update of their addresses. We've actually had more returned because they don't forward ballots. So if there's people out there that end up watching this and realizing that they didn't give us an update of their address for this time of year, we are holding the ballots that come back and not doing anything with them because of the timing of the selection. But if you haven't received your ballot and you were expecting one, please feel free to call the clerk's office.
If you want to craft just a small paragraph, I'd be happy to put that on a website
Okay,
and push it out Facebook as
Okay.
well.
all right, thank you.
We can do that.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Jim Osling,
I think I've said my piece. I'm all good.
Jim Anderson.
The only thing immediate with me would be our year end was this week. So we'll be working towards closing the books out and getting ready for our audit.
Okay. So I can expect our auditor to want a management letter coming soon?
Well, no, it'll be months before we see him, but
Okay.
we've got to do the accrual adjustments, which we won't know what those are till probably close to the end of April, and we'll
Okay.
post them.
All right, very good. And unfortunately, I do have a couple things, and most of it is just kind of too late to classify here, but I just want everybody to know, obviously, the township has some limbs down on its own property. Some of them are frozen ice yet, over by the garage, that kind of thing. We're well aware of those, and I'm waiting until the road commission has announced that they are with MDOT, are going through from tree line to tree line and cutting up and kind of clearing to those things. They won't cut anything on your property or otherwise, but so I'm waiting to see what they declare some of this on County Road 100 that came probably from our property down. So until they do that, that's the next couple Saturdays, I believe it is, or something there. I think I may have heard, they were around, I don't know, yesterday or something. I think yesterday or the day before in Gerrish Township, but not obviously all done, but so I'm waiting. Don't anybody panic on that. Next
Brian?
month,
Just a quick question. When
Mhm.
I read that too, does that mean that like the right of ways on, let's say, East Higgins Lake Drive,
Uh-huh.
like in front of my place, they're gonna clean those up?
I clarified, I sent you guys all the letter I got, and then I turned around and I clarified with Roger independently about right of way, because he said right of way. Well, right of way 33 feet from the center line, right of way on a 66-foot road, and we have many other roadways, and he said tree line to tree line. So
So
tree line, and on the other side of yours would be the power line, obviously.
Well, I actually
So,
went out and cut them up
Yep.
this week.
Yep.
I still got more to clean up, but I didn't know if I was not supposed to do that.
I think whatever a person does, they do. You can see on
Thank you,
100
Jim.
some people have been feeding off of it, which, you know what I mean? Because they've been laying there.
Yeah, well,
And-
I'm just trying to get it
Yeah.
cleaned up.
What they won't do though is have you cut it and push it out to the roadway from your property and take it
Not
away
doing
or
that,
brush it.
not doing that.
Okay. Next month, I forwarded you guys all, Mr. Hobson, had sent in a traffic safety concern and request for a study on Chicago and County Road 200 of the hidden intersection. And so please go visit, look at it. We'll talk about it in May. Again, as we've talked about these, and see what you all think of it and what you want to do with it. So, seems to be a theme,
Yeah.
if you will. Then also, so look at that and look forward to May on that. I want to give everybody an update here on our SAD LLC litigation. The attorneys have just filed a stipulation to delay the briefs, probably by about another 28 days, I believe it is. And most of it has to do with, had to do on our end, if you will, with getting the actual transcripts of the particular meetings. When we got our first dose in of those, there were some missing. And so Scott made another request, more specific. And so everything is in line at this point. We have paid our taxes, Mr. Anderson, on our lakefront property, right?
We paid everything except the road ends.
The road ends have not been given to us yet
That's
for
correct.
payment. Is that correct? Okay.
That's correct.
We got the notice of
Original.
of
You-
intent, but we
yes.
never got a bill,
No.
to my knowledge.
No, we did not.
I don't know whether there's
Not for
correlation
rodents.
between the two or not, but I just wanted to update the public and update this board on that piece of action there, okay? And then lastly, and I'll shut up because I need to go home too, is that I have started, Jim Osling and I started, I should say Jim's the physical worker over here, started getting all the limbs, if you will, all from the opening of our compost site early under the emergency order. They didn't order us to. We felt it was proper to get it open so our residents could get stuff off their properties as well. And there has been a bunch, obviously. But on the other side of that, have started all of the documentation of the Incident Command 214 reports on the debris pieces. We're kind of targeting at this point. We've kind of got a situation going. A situation is that our vendor that takes that stuff out of there from last year ran into very cold weather and equipment wouldn't run January, February, like they normally do. And then the frost laws came on. And so we wound up with stuff sitting out there that needs to be removed from last year. But Jim has isolated those. We're isolating what we're supposed to with the intent and hopefully getting some dollars back for vendors that would have to deal with that extra storm damage from the state emergency declaration and the county's emergency declaration. So I have that. I got it on my desk, and I've been working on it and getting the activity reports and stuff together. They still have not. They're supposed to be meeting yet this month at the emergency managers with the state to find out where our deadlines are for submissions of invoices or otherwise, and the proper forms and the application to have permission to send in the forms, if you will. Okay, that's all I got. So I would entertain a motion right now from somebody to end this meeting at 11 o'clock. So move. I move Treasurer Anderson. Support anywhere?
Support.
Oh, go ahead.
Clerk Squires, further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you all for joining us. Meeting's adjourned.